Peace. This is the enemy's public, and I am Bro.Nasir. The Southern Poverty Law Center, the SPLC, was founded in 1971 as a civil rights law firm based in Montgomery, Alabama, to combat racist, white supremacist groups and to track organizations identified as hate groups. They labeled the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as a racist and an anti-Semite. The SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, said that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan blames Jews for the slave trade, plantation slavery, Jim Crow, sharecropping, and general black oppression. Now, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan never blamed the Jews for anything. He just merely pointed out the truth. To blame someone for something actually means that there's no truth or merit to it. Now, they have called the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan everything besides a child of God. They have called him a racist. They have called him a bigot. They have called him an anti-Semite. They say he teaches hate. He teaches homophobia doctrine. Yet, one thing that they never said about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, they never said that he is or was a liar. In order for you to be a hateful person, you have to be a liar. When someone hates someone, they do harm to them. Okay? There's no way you can be a hateful person and not do harm to people. Excuse me. Who has the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan ever did harm to? No one. So how can those who have a self-righteous, self-entitlement doctrine and sentiment say that out of all people on this planet, that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is a hater and an anti-Semite? You can't be a hater and an anti-Semite without doing harm to people. Now, you just check out the companies that has benefited from the slave trade. These companies include New York Life, found that its predecessor, Northerners Insurance Company, they sold slaveholder policies during the mid-1800s. You have Tiffany and Company. Tiffany and Company was originally financed with profits from a Connecticut cotton mill. The mill operated from cotton picked by slaves. Aetna insured the lives of slaves during the 1850s and reimbursed owners when their slaves died. Brooks Brothers. The suit retailer started their company in the 1800s by selling clothes for slaves to slave traders. Norfolk Southern Railroad. Two companies, Mobile and Girard, and the Central Georgia became part of Norfolk Southern. Mobile, Girard paid slave owners $180 to rent their slaves to the railroad for a year. The Central of Georgia owned several slaves. Then we have Bank of America. Bank of America found that two of its predecessor banks, Boatman Savings Institutions and Southern Bank of St. Louis had ties to slavery, and another predecessor bank of Metropolis accepted slaves as collateral on loans. U.S. Today reported that its parent company, E.W. Scripps and Gannett, was linked to the slave trade. The two institutions that became a part of Wachovia, Georgia Railroad Banking Company, and the Bank of Charleston owned or accepted slaves as collateral on mortgage, properties, and loan. This is Wachovia. AIG purchased American General Financial, which owns U.S. Life Insurance Company. AIG founded documentations that U.S. Life insured the slaves' lives. J.P. Morgan Chase reported that between 1831 and 1865, two of its predecessor banks, Citizens Banks and Canal Bank in Louisiana, accepted approximately 13,000 slaves as a loan collateral and seized approximately 1,250 slaves when plantation owners defaulted on their loans. See, we were used as collateral and we were used as money. We are worth something, but we were used as slaves to pay debts. And oftentimes, our women will be used as sex slaves to pay debts. Now, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan told us all of this. And because he told us all of this, he's considered a man of hate, an anti-Semite, a brother who teaches hate rhetoric. That's not hate rhetoric because you tell the truth. You cannot be a hater telling the truth. You got to be a liar to be a hater. You have to be a liar. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the maker of men. So you're going to tell me a man who takes men who are addicted to drugs, women who are addicted to drugs, who are whoremongers, prostitutes, you name it. Men who beat women, women who disrespect men. You telling me a man such as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who takes these brothers and sisters and redeem them, take them out of their wicked ways, you telling me this is a wicked man? Are you serious? SPLC. How many white men do you put on the chopping block as you put on the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on the chopping block? How many? The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has did nothing but good work on behalf of our people. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is America's and the world's last chance. Once he decides that he has taught and said enough, you better be worried about Allah's wrath. That's what you better be worried about. Because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is our saving grace. And he's the reason why the world has the peace that it has. It's not a very peaceful world, but he's the reason why the world is as peaceful as it is. Because he knows that our people is not prepared to go to war with this vicious enemy. He knows this, and he would never justify the slaughter of his people. That is nothing but a honorable, loving, nurturing man who would do that, who would tell us no when we want to go. So stop the rhetoric, stop the hate, because you're lying. He's telling the truth about those who benefited from the slave trade. He's telling the truth. And you're saying he's a hater for telling the truth? You are a hater for lying. And publishing false propaganda about an honorable man. That's wickedness when you lie on a righteous man, on a man who has never done harm to anyone. By the way, wishing the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan a happy 87th born day. And I wish you another 87 more, beloved. Now, they said the minister's tone grew belligerent when he sent letters to all the Jewish organizations, in the Jewish community, the JDL, the Anti-Defamation League, and the SPLC. He sent letters to these people, telling them and explaining to them that we know that you benefited from the slave trade and you benefit today from the condition that we're in today. Now, how I can say this is, if the NYPD beat on black men and women and assault black men and women for being within 6 feet of each other, say around 50 brothers and sisters. Okay, they go to jail, they get summonses, they get fines. Yet, in Brooklyn, Jewish people can have a funeral with 2,500 people, which is 2,450 people more than the brothers and sisters who were at the barbershop, who were arrested, who some of them were assaulted, thrown to the ground. But the Jewish people can have a funeral with school bus loads of people and nothing happened. Now, who hates who? That's hate. And no one from the Jewish community came and spoke out against these police officers assaulting the brothers and sisters. Why? Because you feel that you are in a privileged position. You feel that you are above reproach. You feel that you are self-entitled. You defy the law. You defy the mandate of social distancing and the mandate that tells us that we can't gather in massive crowds. Yet, 2,500 people mourned their loved one. When I have loved ones that passed away of what they said was coronavirus, and I haven't even seen them. Haven't even seen them. Have friends that passed away of what they said was coronavirus. They are tagging our brothers and sisters and throwing them in a morgue as inventory. And they're getting bread for their bodies. Yet, you're going to say, I'm a hater, or the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's a hater for pointing that out? How dare you? The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has taught us to love ourselves, our brothers and sisters. He taught us that. He didn't teach us to hate anyone. Now, I don't hate anyone, but those who are very distasteful in my brain and in my heart, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan could have not said a word to me in his life, and I'll still feel the same way. Why? My sojourn in America, in the wilderness of North America, and what I see and what I've experienced as a black man, gives me the determination of how I feel about white people. So if you don't want someone to dislike you, you have to change the way you are. You're supposed to mistreat people and mishandle people, and they're supposed to take it in stride. They're supposed to like it. It's not how it goes. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you label him as a racist and an anti-Semite. A racist? He's not racist. And he's definitely not anti-Semite, because for one, you're not the only Semite. As a matter of fact, you are a Johnny-come-lately Semite. You have stolen people's birthright. Yes, I said it. You have stolen people's birthright. And we are the original Semites. Anything that you claim of righteousness, we originated it. You can say you're the righteous all you want, but if you don't conduct yourself in a righteous manner, you can say it a million times, but your behavior determines whether you are righteous or not saying that you're righteous. Not pointing the finger at other people and not telling people that they are everything that you are. You are anti-Semitic, so-called Johnny-come-lately Jews. You are anti-Semitic. Why? Because you will call a man who is honorable, who means the world the better good, you call him anti-Semitic because he point out you're wrong. Keep your dirty mouth off the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Stop talking about him like that. He's our brother, we love him, and we will defend him. Though it is the easiest thing in the world to do, defend the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. What makes me mad is you have Negroes coming after this good brother. Ungrateful Negroes. This brother stand on your behalf. You got a bad word to say about him? We're going to get what we deserve if we don't recognize who this brother is. We're going to get what we deserve, because once he decides that he's done talking and defending us, he defend us, and you will talk bad about him? You let this brother decide that he said enough and see what happens. You see what happens every time he tell us to watch the weather. Don't play with that man. This is the Enemy's Public, and I am Bro.Nasir. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace.